So today we're gonna do Rappie pie, and this time instead of trying to do it while we're making it, we're gonna narrate it. Okay, we start with two pieces of pork. That's for 10 pounds. Each is for five. You notice one's larger. That's because it has a bone in it. And Tammy took these out to defrost yesterday. Okay, she's put them in the crock pot and sprinkled on some uh, Lipton beefy onion soup mix. I think maybe a couple packets and what did you do? 1 cup of water? Just 1 cup of water. We're eventually going to do six. We do 3 packets, which is usually one box for every 5 pounds of potatoes. And now I've peeled and I'm slicing up the potatoes into quarter-inch slices to be diced into quarter-inch cubes so that we can process them from there in the blender. Otherwise, it could be difficult to blend. Okay, so the meat is cooked and Tammy shredded it, and now we're ready to begin processing the potatoes. You see the three things, the cubes. The steel pan has 1 5-pound batch, and the other 5 pounds. I think it might be a little uneven. Okay, and now I'm taking a 2 cup measuring cup, filling it with the potatoes and the and some water. It helps to have some water to get it to grate properly. And then I'm going to just, in the muslin bag, I'm going to squeeze out the water. Um, this is probably the most difficult part of the process of making this. When I was a kid, we would do the entire 20 pounds that we would make, squeeze it out, put it in the refrigerator, and that and then bring it back the next day and finish it. My cousin up in Canada would fill about 6 of these bags with the potatoes and then just put it in the washing machine to wring the water out. And we used to wring it out to like almost 100% of the water out. I don't go quite that far now. 80 to 90% does really well with the blender. And my wife kind of likes the potato flavor. Her mother used to do potato pancakes when they were kids, so it kind of reminds her of that. Unlike potato pancakes, there's nothing else in this but grated potatoes, the meat. That's it, and the broth is got the Lipton onion soup mix to add flavor, beef, and that's probably a little more than I would normally use, but it doesn't matter because eventually all the broth is going to end up in all the Rappie. Okay, and we do 5 pounds at a time, and I'll show you why in a minute, explain to you why. We'll complete 1 5-pound batch, one frying pan. We'll put it in the oven, let it cook. Now that's what it looks like when it's done. It doesn't look very appetizing, but trust me, when I was a kid and we did 20 pounds, it looked even worse. And I'm just going to layer it in the frying pan and then put a layer of meat and salt and then another layer and just rinse and repeat until it's full. And then we're going to see why I mentioned just doing 5 pounds at a time. One of the more difficult things that I found trying to do this when I was young is keeping the water hot enough so that the water wouldn't separate from the potatoes. And we figured out a few years ago that if we just put a little heat on the pan, it would stay together. Okay, the only problem with that is that the stuff on the bottom of the pan tends to actually start to cook. But this is actually an advantage because that's going to be used as a cap. And by it crusting up quicker than the rest of it, it will hold some of the moisture in. It won't dry it out so much. And we don't cook this nearly as long as we used to cook it when I was a kid. They would cook it 3.5 hours. We cook about 2 hours. And, it's not a microwave or so, well, kind of like that. The more you put in to the oven, the longer you're going to have to cook. We're cooking 2 pans, so we're going to cook it about 2 hours and 15 minutes for each. And my beautiful wife with her honey blonde hair is just going to put that in for me because my hands are pretty nasty right now with potatoes and stuff and slippery. And that's one thing you want to make sure you do is wash your hands really well if you're going to do this because you're going to use your hands a lot. Okay, and we're going to take the first frying pan out, and it looks like I got a repair on the oven on this, and when I was a kid, we made this in black cast iron frying pans, and then that was just half the battle. The other battle was getting the Rappie out of the pan. You'd have to use a chisel. It was quite a bit of work. All I'm going to do here is just break this free from the rivets. You see it moves, and just dump it right out on the glass. Makes it much easier to cut, much easier to access. Having the non-stick frying pan that is not Teflon. I think all the Teflon's gone by now, but you wouldn't want to use Teflon making Rappie because the Teflon would end up stuck to the Rappie. You probably noticed earlier that the pans had a Crisco, even though they're non-stick, we still use Crisco. And that helps to form the crust as well. And the crust is just fabulous. It tastes like a big slab of bacon. And what we do is we put butter and salt on it. And there's two camps in Canada. One is butter and salt, and one is molasses. And the people who, and that's what it looks like. That's kind of a thin piece. Usually it's a little thicker than that. Hope you enjoyed it.